Is this thing on? Hello? Hello, Internet. Hello, Internet listeners. Can you hear me? It says standing by still. Oh, there are questions. I see many questions. Welcome to... I don't know if this is live or not yet. I can't tell. I feel like I should be able to tell that somehow. But I don't see how you can tell that. And I don't know if that URL's right either now that I'm thinking about it. Oh, wait. I hear stuff. Hey, that's me. Okay, cool. It's working. Welcome to Still Untitled. No, wait, no. That's not what this is. This is No Jars Allowed. We call it that because I drink out of mugs exclusively. You can see this right here. This thing is a mug. It is for drinking beverages. You can tell it's not a jar because it has a handle on the side. And only chumps drink out of jars. It also says not a jar. Well, you can't see that because the camera is kind of crappy, but it says not a jar with words there on the bottom. And you know, jars are for putting stuff in and for canning and things like that, not for wow, I've got another window open someplace. Wait, okay, that's that one gone. Okay. Hi. So the way this works is really straightforward. You guys ask me questions. They can be about technology, they can be about the site, they can be about stuff we've done, stuff we're going to do, things we've seen, places we've been, like movies I've watched, I guess. You could ask me about kid stuff. I may or may not answer that. And then I answer them to the best of my ability, more or less. So the best place to get your question answered is at tested.com/live. You'll need to create an account on tested.com, which is the site that is associated for YouTube. For you dudes on YouTube, there's a lot of you guys over on YouTube. That's the site. So it goes with the YouTube channel. There's a bunch of other stuff there too. I'm going to start with the first question. If you're on Tested, put @will in the message, and it pops up in my little queue. If you want to ask questions on YouTube, I can't promise I'll get to them because there's a lot of noise there. But I will see what I can do, and mostly right now it's just people saying hi. It's Will. So there we go. And if this goes well, then we'll probably do it again. Maybe get Norman and do a hangout or something, or possibly even Jamie and Adam or other people of interest to you guys. So the first question is from Stenchlord. Chloe's barking in the background, so we got that going for us. From Stenchlord, he says, "Hey Will, what have you heard regarding the Windows 8.1 update? There have been a lot of rumors. There was apparently some information that came out yesterday at All Things D, where they pulled the wraps off. A couple of things that are changing. They are moving the Windows Start charm from the right side of the Windows 8 screen, where it didn't make much sense to anyone that wasn't using a tablet, to the lower left side of the screen." Can you guys hear the dog barking? I apologize. I got in-ear buds, and so she's silent to me, but if the mic's picking it up, I'll go yell at her. So they're moving that back to the traditional location. It's unclear whether that stuff is going to... whether it's going to pop up in Metro apps, how exactly that all is going to work. I don't think they showed pictures. I'm not at All Things D, obviously. This is my office at home. But yeah, they're addressing complaints and problems. Like, these are things that we said were going to be a problem a year ago when they showed it to us the first time, in the early betas, more than a year ago. So, I mean, there are no surprises here. It's a bummer that they had to release the OS and have everybody give them a bunch of grief about it. And frankly, the larger issue is that they confused the hell out of a bunch of people that didn't know. If you accidentally launch an app on Windows 8 and end up in a Metro app by accident and you don't know how to get there, they did a terrible job educating people how to get in and out of that. Like, moving the cursor to the lower left corner of the screen is what we've always done, but we moved it there because there was something there to click, and without something there to click, like, moving it there made no sense. You'll also be able to move, put custom backgrounds, so your desktop background will show up on the start screen. And then the other thing is you'll be able to boot straight to alternative places other than the start screen. So it was later confirmed, I think The Verge asked, and that means that you'll be able to boot straight to the desktop if you are a desktop user on a PC with a big ass monitor like I have here, where Metro apps make absolutely no sense. So yeah, that's it. That's the story. Let's see. There's a bunch of people asking questions about other people's content. CowGod. I don't. Well, okay, that's a response to CowGod, but it includes me, so I don't know what that says. Oh, Ivorito says, are you planning on doing many more large DIY projects? Your Tetris shelves look great, but do you think it's worth the time, money, and effort you put into it? Absolutely. So, if you don't know what we're talking about, last year, I guess, I started building a set of Tetris shelves. So each piece, like each shelf is an individual piece. They're all modular, so you can take them in and out. You can reconfigure them. You can basically play Tetris with these pieces of wood that are, I guess, 40 inches minimum wide. Like the narrowest one, the 4-block ones are about 40 inches. So it's really cool. It's in the kids' room. I think they're really neat. Everybody who comes in is like, "Oh, those are really cool shelves. Where did you buy those?" I'm like, "Well, actually, 80 hours." They took a long time. One of the things that Adam talks about a lot is that he gets to the 60 or 70% mark in a project, and then either like gets the fear that you're going to do something, like you get to the hard part at that point, and like if you screw up at the beginning, it's not that big a deal to start over, because frequently you won't even have messed up materials. But if you get 20 or 30 hours into something and then mess up, it's really disheartening. Disheartening, yeah. So, like, I definitely had that with this. It coincided with the birth of the child, which was, inconvenient, to say the least. But yeah, I think we'll definitely do more large projects. I've got a couple of small Arduino things cooking right now. The lighted hall closet is the first one, and it should have been much simpler than it was, but I've been waiting on some parts for the last like 2.5 weeks. So as soon as they get here, I'll be able to put that together and do the last post on that. After that, I have I want to build one of those clappers, the clacky things that movie people use. So I've written the program for the Arduino stuff to control the clocks in that, but I haven't done the actual box building for the clacker. So I'm gonna look at that and maybe build a framework for that thing. And then after that, honestly, I want to build a new desk. Like, I've had the same desk in my house for a really long time. I'm feeling pretty good about my carpentry skills. And I would like to build a hybrid standing sitting desk that has a mechanism that raises and lowers at about 2.5 feet, 2 feet, so that I can sit or stand as I want at home. Because I do like the standing desk at work, but I don't like standing all day long. So, yeah, so that's it. That's where I'm at. I'm going to take a sip of my beverage. Today, I'm drinking an Arnold Palmer. It's lemonade on the bottom, iced tea on the top. I like to give it a little swirl. Get my stir on. At this point, you're probably asking yourself, what the hell am I watching? You're watching a man stir a drink with his finger in a mug. Something that is clearly not a jar. That is a tasty beverage. Let's take another question here. El Beso says, Will, what do you think about the HTC One and Samsung Galaxy S4 getting stock Android? I feel like this is a victory. This is the thing that we were asking for from the dawn of crappy manufacturer versions of Android, and they're doing it. We win. That's fantastic. I think everybody should go out and buy those. I hope that they'll be available at subsidized prices, which is what most people buy. I think that I wish that they would have launched them on day one instead of waiting until the phones had been available for a few weeks, but it's all good. This is a huge victory. Revel in your success, Internet. It was all of our bitching that finally enacted change, and I mean it's good all around. Fantastic. Now I know that the Galaxy S4 is going to get Nexus style updates. I don't know if the HTC One is going to get the same speed updates, but regardless, it's still good news. Stock Android is a wonderful thing. Jetlag wants to know if I am the #1 or #2 Will Smith in Gary Whitta's contact list. That is a really good question. I don't know. I think he can Siri me, so that must mean. But I guess when he Siris, he says, call Will Smith, and it's like, do you mean Will Smith or Will Smith? So I don't know. I'll have to find out. I'll steal his phone next time. Next time he's around. Okay, so the link on the screen did go to a 404, so don't go to that link. That's a bad link. I'm gonna fix it right now, though. I think. Well, this is some fascinating internet content here. Look at that. Look at that. Is it coming in live? Can't type when I'm on the internet, it turns out. Wait. Boom! There's where you can ask the questions. So, I'm looking for the next question here. Always Be Clothing wants to know, where did you get a large mason jar with a handle? It is not a mason jar, it is a mug. We've been over this a few times. I feel like this is a question you ask every time. Always Be Clothing. Warsini wants to know, I'm not talking about After Earth, it's not my business. Webbling wants to know, is there any merch coming in the near future? Yes. I don't have a timeline, but we hope very, very soon. We've been working on merch for what seems like a really, really long time now. I want to have stuff like stickers and mugs and shirts available so you can wear your Tested Pride everywhere you go. If you guys have merch ideas, if you have stuff that you want to see, if you want like notebooks or utility knives or something, send Twitter messages or send email to tips@tested.com with your requests, and we will investigate and see. We're working with the same folks that we worked with at Whiskey Media to do the actual fulfillment and buying of the stuff, and they're awesome and are really good at finding cool stuff. So like my only requirement for merch is that it can't be it has to be stuff that we would actually use or that we're into. So I'm not going to do it just has to be cool stuff. That's it. That's all there is to it. And if you make something and you think we might be into it, let us know. Helicopter Spy wants to know, what kind of earbuds are these? These are the Velodyne $99 Amazon Wirecutter tested recommendation earbuds. They're pretty dope. I killed my old C5s the other day, which really made me sad when I was running, and so I had to get a new pair of earbuds. But they have the flat cable. Like, it's sad that at this point in my life, like, the sound quality is universally, like, when you spend $100 on a pair of headphones, they should sound pretty good. So it's assumed. It's like you spend a lot of money on an expensive meal. The meal should be good from start to finish, right? At this point, as the headphones sound pretty good, actually they sound really good. They're much bassier than I like generally, but I was able to make that work out fine. But the flat ribbon cable is the bomb. I've never had a pair of headphones that have a flat cable. See, invisible, visible, invisible, visible, and it's awesome. They coil up in my bag and they don't get all snarled up, and I don't have to unknot them when I'm fishing them out when I want to listen to music or podcasts or stuff. I'm going to take a question from YouTube because I haven't been over there. Oh, Gizmo Scariot says, are you guys going to do another large-scale Lego build at some point? I would really like to. I haven't. We haven't talked about it. It's time. Like, I'm into Lego. Norm's into Lego. We like doing Lego. It's hard to find time to do something. Like, I don't think we could do another endurance test, which is what we did the last time, where it was like 3 weeks and we shot pretty much every day. But I'd like to do something like Lego Live. I think Lego is a good opportunity to do live stuff, and I felt like the Minecraft race in Oktoberfest last year was pretty fun. I like doing the same thing for each of us, so it's actually a fair race instead of Norm's minus 600 piece nonsense build last time. Although you guys really thought I was a horrible person after that endurance test, so I don't know. Maybe it's not a good idea to do Lego anymore. I get kind of competitive. Jetlag wants to know, does a good office chair exist in the $100 to $200 range? I don't know. I haven't actually used a $100 to $200 chair in a long time. I found that you can buy used Herman Miller Reaction office chairs, which I don't think they make anymore. But it's what I have it here at the office for about $250 at office, like places that buy not closeouts, but bankrupt chairs and furniture for office furniture, used office furniture stores. That's what I'm looking for. It's a really comfortable chair. It's super configurable. Like, the arms are each individually height adjustable, and you can do front, back, seat, tilt, pan, seat, pan, position, front or back. They're great chairs. So what I would do if you want to spend $100 to $200 is find a used office furniture store in your area, and go down there with $200 cash and, you know, tell them what you're looking for and see what they think, because those guys generally, I mean, I've had both good and bad experiences at used office furniture places, but generally pretty good. They're usually good to help somebody, and as a result, like the place I bought my last chair, I probably am a customer for as long as I live in the Bay Area. Brian Beatdown says, the wire cutter says the Virtuoso, this is the Baratza Virtuoso, is the cheapest grinder to get at $180. Can you recommend anything less expensive than that? They don't actually make the Virtuoso anymore. They make the Preciso now, which is, hold on, I better look this up. The Preciso is the one with multiple attachment. It's funny, the lighting changes when I open a tab. Fact-checking live. This is terrible. Brian Davis would be so pissed off at me right now. The Maestro is okay if you're just, so if you're making espresso, then the Virtuoso or the Preciso specifically is the least expensive grinder you probably want to buy. If you're just making brewed coffee, I think the Maestro is okay. We have one in the office that clogs fairly regularly. It was abused pretty heavily by the interns at Whiskey Media, but yeah, I mean, it seems to be a fine grinder for like basic, simple grinding coffee for pour-over brewing, manual brewing, basket brewers, French presses, stuff like that. The Virtuoso is one step down from the Preciso. You can get those refurbed. I think they post that on Thursday. And you can get those refurbed for usually a little bit less than the $180, but I don't know. I don't know what the availability is like. If you really don't want to spend, you know, $100, $180, $200 on a grinder, which I understand, go to your coffee supply place, whether it's Amazon or Target or whatever. Bodum makes an inexpensive Berg grinder. It's not great. I wouldn't use it with a metal filter at all because the distribution of particles is really weird. But it is better than, like, the thing to avoid are those blade grinders with the plastic lid and the button you press and the blade that spins, because all that does is smear the oil and stuff that makes the coffee taste good on the inside edges of the coffee grinder. The Berg grinder doesn't do that. It mashes all the stuff together. So there we go. I am scrolling back to, well, we talked about Amazing Test, the sequel, Falco Eagle, so I'm not going to address that really, but I mean, maybe, like I said, I don't think it'll be an endurance test style thing, but we'll come up with something. Man Thursday wants to know, have I played any new board games recently? Let's see, we played a ton of Kingdom Builder over the holidays. We've kind of been going back to old stuff lately, because I tend to play stuff for a while real hard and then it falls out of favor. I have a couple of games that I've had sitting in my pile back there for a while that I just haven't gotten to yet. Android Infiltration, which is the Donald Vaccarino, you know, the Dominion guys, game set in the Android universe, which is the same as Android Netrunner. It's a different kind of game, but it has the kind of Donald Vaccarino elements. We played a fair amount of Kingdom Builder for a while. I kind of got into that. I like that game a lot, and it's pretty good with 2 players, especially with the expansion. I'm trying to think what else. I feel like I did play something else. I played that Dungeon Roll a fair amount. Oh, and I've been playing Eclipse on the iPad. That's great. If you like Eclipse, I didn't know I liked Eclipse, but it turns out I do really like Eclipse, and it's fantastic on the iPad. I am anxiously awaiting the Agricola port, because that was done by the people that did Ascension and the Penny Arcade, Deck Builder, something else, and they do really good board game ports for iOS with multiplayer. So I'm stoked about that and can't wait for that to come out, because Agricola is one of my favorites. The next question is Nelson 1 Tom. Is there any chance of a Bay Area tested meetup? We didn't do it at Maker Faire. No, we didn't. Maker Faire is a really busy weekend. Like, events are tough for us because there's only 3 of us, and we're usually working the whole time. If there's interest in a Bay Area Maker Faire meetup, a Bay Area meetup, post in the forums and let's kind of gauge interest and see how many people we can get, and we'll see if we can put something together. I mean, we'd totally be into it. I just assumed there weren't enough people around to you know, there's nothing sadder than having a meetup with like 6 dudes. So yeah, if you want to meet us and come hang out, then post in the forums. Start a thread. Dino546 wants to know, even though it seems unlikely, do you think the anti-used game stuff in the next generation consoles will benefit consumers in some way? I'm going to take a sip of my beverage while I think about this one. Delicious. So we don't really know how the anti-used game stuff works in in next generation consoles. We know that they're going to lock the console to you briefly, right? The game to your machine once you put it in the disc. So you'll have to. It's basically you're buying a Steam code disguised as a disc. At least in the 360, we don't know how the PS4 stuff's going to work at all. Sorry, the Xbox One. That's still weird to say. Like in my heart, I want that to mean the used games stuff to mean that they're going to have frequent sales to bring prices down, and they're going to let you do things like deactivate your ability to play that game and trade it to someone else, or have some sort of marketplace, Diablo 3 style marketplace where you can say, hey, I think I would like to give this game, I would like to put this game up for sale, and I would like to buy another game, or I'd like to trade game for game or whatever. I don't know. I don't think that's going to happen. I think probably, I also think that, like, if they're not having a used games market, games should probably be cheaper, right? It's common sense, right? They're making more money on each title because you can't rent games, you can't sell used games, you can't trade games with your friends. We should get a knock off the price, but I don't think that's going to happen either. I hope that what it does mean, though, is that the pricing for downloadable games from Microsoft on Xbox Live is going to get a little bit less insane. Because right now, it's, if you go in and look at, like, Too Human, it's like $25 or $30. And I'm pretty sure you can get that for about 35 cents if you go into a GameStop now. Probably new. Anyway. I feel like the prices on that stuff should at least maintain parity with the prices at big retailers like Amazon and Target and Walmart and stuff like that for new games. I don't think it's going to happen. I think we're probably... I don't know. It's too soon to say. We'll know more in a couple of weeks. Nelson One Tom wants to know if subscriptions are coming back. Yeah, we're working on some sort of membership thing. I don't know exactly what form it's going to take. But yeah, if you have feedback about that stuff, again, we welcome feedback. So post it in the forums, and we'll talk about that with our corporate overlords when we figure out what the subscription should be. I mean, I know that it'll have some sort of original content that's exclusive to members, and there'll be some sort of discount on merchandise or a store type situation. But beyond that, don't know what shape it'll take. So, Sam Clark wants to know what else happens in the tested offices that we don't see. How is the environment there? So the tested office, it's a kind of weird. We're like the North office for our company. And the North people consists of like the top men and Joey and Norm and me. And then sometimes another video person, depending on, where we're at. So right now, Norm and Joey are out on location, and I went into the office yesterday afternoon, and it was kind of sad and lonely. So I'm working at home today. It's a small. I mean, it's like any small office. It's weird. Like we don't have men's and we're small enough that we have one restroom. We don't have a separate men's and women's. We have a conference room, and it's just a bunch of dudes working quietly to themselves all day long. Pretty much, we are low shenanigan these days, I would say. But as for the environment, I mean, constantly, I have to constantly watch Norm because I think he might kill me if I turn my back for a moment, and vice versa. Let's be perfectly clear. Given the opportunity, I would, finish him. Yeah. I'm gonna sip my beverage while I look for the next question. I'm going to go to YouTube. Take a question from YouTube over here. Star Wars Jedi wants to know, do I like Animal Crossing? Oh, yes, I love Animal Crossing, except for that bastard Tom Nook. I think I know there's a new Animal Crossing coming out. I haven't paid attention to it. It's for 3DS. It's a very tempting prospect for me. I am intentionally not buying that game because I don't need Animal Crossing in my life right now. I don't need Tom Nook on my back all the time trying to get more bells out of me. I got to go dig for dinosaur bones and collect fruit from different people. I'll probably buy it before I go to PAX, because if I had to guess, probably going to PAX is like ultimate completionism for Animal Crossing. So yeah, that's my answer on Animal Crossing. It's out this weekend, right? Or soon. It was either last weekend or next weekend or maybe the weekend after. I love Animal Crossing. It's a great game. No one should ever play Animal Crossing. It's really bad for you. Next question is... Oh, Dino546 wants to know what the hot scoop on the next Giant Bomb endurance run is. Well, what you should do is just send @messages to Taswell, Taswell on Twitter. He likes to get them like every hour or two. So work with your friends, because what will happen is he'll start blocking you because it's a big secret. They don't want it to get out. I heard it's going to be something that starts with the initials FF, but I'll let you fill it in from there. I don't think they actually have an endurance run planned, for what it's worth. I'm just being an asshole. Stenchlord wants to know, I'm interested in getting a Nexus 4. Do you think there will be an update that I should wait for, or do I just get the sexy white Nexus 4 now? Unless you're really hot on that $300 off contract price, I would really look at the plain Nexus style, the plain Android versions of either the Galaxy S4 or the HTC One. They're both newer phones. They're a little bit better phones, I think. They're not as cheap, especially if you're buying off contract. They're actually probably crazy expensive. I can't remember what the off contract prices of either of those phones is, but I'm sure it's upwards of $600. But they are they're one. The Nexus 4 was kind of a half generation phone, and the Nexus, the Galaxy S and the One are one generation. The next generation. So Nexus 4 is a great phone though. So if you're buying off contract, $300 you can't beat. Go buy the Nexus 1. Oh, sorry, 4. Don't buy a Nexus 1. Nexus 1 is not a good phone anymore. I mean, it's a great phone at the time. Loved it. It's a little slow for today. Swim wants to know, apart from the processing delay, is there any reason not to enable HDR when taking photos on an iPhone, since it also saves a non-HDR photo? I don't take them because of the processing delay, because of the extra space. I turn on HDR when I'm in a situation, like when I'm in a high contrast situation, like the room I'm in right now. I'm in a dark part of the room. I'm lit by the monitor. That thing behind me, right there, is a window to the outside. And even though it's not particularly bright out, because it's dark in here, it's really super blown out. So I don't think HDR would help with this. But if you're in a situation where you have dark stuff and bright stuff, HDR will help, especially if there's not a lot of movement in the scene, because it does take shot. So, Calbar, I don't know the best option for a HD dash cam, unfortunately. If you have any Russian friends, you should probably ask them. Always Be Clothing wants to know if we're gonna have a PAX panel this year. I don't know. I've kind of been kicking around a couple of ideas, but Norm and Adam are going to be at Dragon Con, so I don't think we'd do it. This is only a test or something like that. We might do something else. There are some other things that we've done lately with people that I'm pretty sure will be at PAX, so who knows? Keep your fingers crossed. I got to find out when the submission deadline on that is. It's probably already passed, and I'm boned. So we may not, if the submission deadline's already passed, we're not having a PAX panel. On a related note, I'm available to be on PAX panels if anybody needs somebody for a PAX panel. Skunkabilly wants to know if I've done any Lego stuff since I bought the B-Wing last year. The answer to that is unequivocally no. I have not had time to do Lego since the baby was born. Hopefully soon. I have the unassembled B-Wing. It's literally like right down there, and it taunts me every day. So one of the things I asked for my birthday was a Saturday afternoon that I could just dump it all on the dining room table and have my wife take care of the baby without any input from me, so that I could build the Lego B-Wing. But I kind of don't have a place to put it right now, so there are other issues. I'd have to move my Y-Wing someplace else, I guess. I'm going to go back to YouTube and pick one more. Let's see, what else have we got? Oh, Andre Gross wants to know, any more one-day builds coming up? We will always have one-day builds. I mean, it's a great. We love the format. It takes a long time, like both to shoot, prepare for, and produce. So they're going to be kind of special events. We're not going. It's not something we're ever going to do every week unless we staff up dramatically and get like 5 Adams, Norms, and me's. You know, if we can clone people and get a whole lot more people working on the site, we probably would do them weekly. I think our secret goal that I probably shouldn't share on the internet is that we want to do, you know, one a month or one every other month at absolute minimum. And we'll probably do some with Norm and me too, and hopefully with Jamie. His projects are usually a little bit slower, so maybe the one-day build isn't a good fit. But I have a couple of things that are potential one-day builds cooking, and I think Norm has at least one thing in the queue. So there you go. You know, back to the Lego question, Skunkabilly. That Ultimate Collector's X-Wing, the new one that's $200 and is like 1,500 pieces, 1,600 pieces, looks pretty great. I haven't actually done any hands-on work with it though, so who knows? Maybe terrible, but I mean they generally don't make stuff that's terrible. So Kim A wants to know if there's been any progress on the Arduino LED pantry or if it's on the back burner for now. I have a box in here somewhere. I can't remember where I put it. But, let's see, it's not with the Wii games. Oh, here it is. Oop. He says he unplugs his headphones. This box contains half of the parts that I need to finish it. Oh, that was my house. Oops. Yeah, so I need a couple more parts. They've been 2 or 3 weeks coming, so as soon as they get here, we'll go ahead and finish. Before It's Too Late Guy on YouTube says, how much time do you typically spend editing shows? It really depends. Like so a lot of times, this is one of the things that I think people don't understand, but we do a mix of stuff that's high production value and low production value, because the low production value stuff, and by low production value I mean the length of time you have to spend kind of once you've shot the video, making it ready to go up on YouTube and the site, is stuff that I can do or that we can get an assistant producer to do or something like that. And it's usually stuff like Show and Tell is a perfect example of that. The MakerBot videos, the Print the Mystery Object videos are examples of that. And the podcast videos are all things that are relatively, they're not high skill edits. They don't require finesse or talent to edit them. Well, okay, the stuff I do doesn't require finesse or talent. The podcasts don't. The stuff that our assistant producer does does actually require skill, so I should be careful. But the idea is that we get something new and fresh up every day, and some days it's something that's awesome, you know, because the content's really good and may not be that visually interesting or not that heavily produced, and then the rest of the time it's the other stuff. Sometimes Joey will spend 2 or 3 days or a week even. The videos that featured Chris Hadfield and David Chang and Tracy Desjardins and Jamie and Adam were anywhere from 3 to 5 days of editing and cutting and scoring and cutting and, you know, tightening them up, plus multiple shoots. I mean, I think we did at least 2 or 3 shoots for each of those videos. So, you know, it's all told, it was probably 20, 25 hours in each one, not counting travel time to get to Houston and all the time that Norm and I spent, you know, organizing the chefs so we could get the chefs there and all that. So, I mean, it adds up a lot. And stuff like a one-day build, which, you know, the first one-day build we did, the one with the Blade Runner box, I think was an 8-hour shoot, which is really, really long for us. We don't generally, if we're someplace for 8 hours shooting, we get 5 or 6 videos out of it. Like Maker Faire, for example. But then the production also took a long time. So when you have that much footage coming in, then it takes much longer to go through and sort it all and see what you have, and then longer to cut all that down and scrunch it down into I think that ended up being like a 22-minute video. So yeah, I mean, it's a lot for 3 dudes, or three dudes and a part-time helper. So I guess that's the answer. That was a really long answer to your question. I'm going to go, just a reminder, if you have a question and you're on the YouTube channel, where there seem to be a lot of people right now, The best way to get a question answered is to go to this URL right here. It's tested.com/live. Sign up for an account. Oh, wait, I don't think you can actually sign up for an account right now. We had a spam attack this morning, so account sign up might be down. Anyway, just keep asking in the YouTube channel. I'll hop over there occasionally. But you should sign up for Test anyway. We have good stuff on the site every day in addition to the videos that are on YouTube as well. So, today we talked about the new Samsung Galaxy S4 Mini. We've had good maker profiles. We had a really cool thing about some people who made a Half-Life 2 gravity gun that is maybe not the best one I've seen, but it's definitely right up there with the stuff that Harrison Cricks made a few years ago for the PAX charity auctions, stuff like that. Really awesome stuff every day. It's a full of awesome content. I am... Let's see, I'm looking for another question. I'm going to have a sip of my beverage because I don't finish this until the jar is empty, and I have someplace to be at 7, so... Good mug like this is a perfect way to drink an Arnold Palmer. Delicious. Commander 7 ZX2 wants to know, with the large number of TV features for the Xbox One, do you think the system will run with HDCP always on? The Xbox 360 did not use HDCP when playing games, allowing you to capture game footage via HDMI. Yeah, I think that, I don't know. It's relatively trivial. It costs $200 to buy a thing that strips HDCP out of an HDMI signal. So, I mean, if you're buying HDMI capture stuff, which is, I guess that Elgato box is the cheapest thing that's out there. It's what, 100 or $150. I mean, you're gonna have to double the amount of money you spend to capture that. The other thing is, I would say is that the 360 will. I would be shocked. I mean, they actually announced it, didn't they? The DV. Oh no, that's in the video cards. I'd be shocked if they don't have some sort of capture DVR style setup, just like the PS4 does, to send clips to YouTube and other places on the internet. So, yeah, I like, they're aware of the marketing value of Let's Play type content and quick looks and stuff like that. I don't think they're going to prevent that if they can help it. So it may be that the HDCP only flips on when the TV stuff comes on or something like that. I don't know. Also, because HDCP is so broken, I also wonder if the content owners actually even care. Because if you're going to spend $200 to capture HDMI, you're also going to spend the other $200 to get the thing that breaks HDCP. So it may be less of an issue than it was 10 years ago. Sambolino wants to know, what would you recommend is the best way to get started in Arduino? There's a good, let's see, the Make Magazine guys have a great book and kit. It's called Getting Started with Arduino, and it comes with I think it's like an Uno R3 now, some breadboards, some LEDs, some switches and buttons, a buzzer, some the little wires with the metal pokey things on the end that you use in the breadboard, jumper wires. And it's a great way to get started. If you buy that, you can figure out what you want to do with the Arduino, make the circuits in the breadboard, and then easily transfer them over to a shield. But the best thing about it is it lets you kind of like, the thing that was that I thought was hard about Arduino was learning the programming side. And if you have even the most basic C experience, then probably getting started with Arduino is a little bit slow for you. In that case, just go buy an Arduino R3 and one of those getting started kits with the breadboards and the jumper wires and all that stuff, and go to the Arduino.cc website and go to their reference and learning sections, where they have like a basic walkthrough and they explain what each command does and how the classes work. And so if you already understand C syntax, then you don't need to go through the parts of the Getting Started book where they explain what pointers are and how to do an array and all that stuff, because you already know that, what loops are. Basically, if you can write a program that uses loops in C, then you're probably already pretty proficient with Arduino stuff and just didn't know it yet. I don't know anything at all about the new Double Fine Kickstarter Fried Dinosaur, so sorry about that. Ace Hunter 1337 wants to know when he should buy, or she should buy, a MacBook Pro They're likely going to update those to Haswell. I would guess at WWDC or maybe even without an event. So I would say hold off on. So if you're building a desktop, I wouldn't worry about Haswell because it's primarily graphics, or seems like it's going to be primarily graphics. The full details on that stuff aren't out. I don't think we've seen benchmarks anywhere yet, really. But yeah, so for desktop, I wouldn't worry about it. But for a laptop, whether Mac or PC, I would hold off until you can get a Haswell machine because it'll. I don't know what the date on that stuff is, but it'll be relatively shortly. Within months, not within, by the end of summer traditionally is when they release new laptops. Stenchler wants to know, is the house baby safe? Do you really have Lego on the floor? Lol. The Lego's in a box on the floor. The baby doesn't crawl. She lays on her back. Like, you put her down someplace and she might as well be Velcroed to it. So yeah, Val's totally baby safe. We just give her a fork and tell her to, when she wants something, plug it into the thing. No, of course. The baby can't get anywhere right now. We have a couple months before we have to baby safe stuff. She has a little way to crawl. She has a little way to go before she crawls. Yarko wants to know if my daughter likes the beard. She smiles when she sees me, so I guess that's something. When you go in for a kiss, whether you have a beard or not, she grimaces and kind of gets all, like that as she's waiting to get kissed. She doesn't know. She has no point of reference. She knows very few men without beards. So there you go. I'm going to go over to YouTube now. Let's see if I can find a question over there. Brian McGovern asks, do you sell or plan on selling any tested merchandise? Yes. Yes, we will. We have a bunch of t-shirt designs planned. If you go to tested.com and log in and click on that little fireball guy on the top right of the page, up by like the Twitter icon and the Facebook icon and the YouTube icon and all that, you might get a preview of stuff that could potentially be on shirts and stickers and stuff like that someday. So, yeah, take a look at that. While I'm on YouTube, Anki100 has a good question, and that is, what is your favorite thing that the MakerBot has made? Mine is the octopus that says hello, and where do you buy the MakerBot? So there's a ton of different people selling 3D printers today. MakerBot is just one of them. They were early on the scene. But you can get MakerBots at makerbot.com. Make Magazine did a good roundup of 3D printers that I think is on their website now. Wired did one as well. There's, the MakerBots start at about $2,000 now. There are much equally capable printers that print a smaller area. So like a smaller, maybe not vertical area, but have a smaller build plate. And they start as low as like $400 or $500. So you can kind of find out what's going on and do some research, and you should be able to find a ton of there's a lot of good opportunities out there. Don't necessarily just go buy a MakerBot because that's what we use on the site. While I'm on YouTube, the questions just keep coming. Is my drink cold enough? Once says before it's too late guy. Yeah, I got ice cubes in there. It's pretty good. If you're drinking an Arnold Palmer, you want to make sure there's plenty of ice because you don't want this to get warm. Lemonade and iced tea warm, it just doesn't sound good. But lemonade and iced tea cold is refreshing on a hot summer day or late spring, whatever. Bub in a suit wants to know, how many prime numbers can I list in 30 seconds? I'm going to start a timer. I'm pre-thinking that. I'm going to go ahead and tell you that. I'm just going to admit it right now. Okay, here we go. 2, 3, 5, 7, 11, 13, 17, 19, 23, 31, 37, 43. What's after 43? 40, no, 47 isn't. Oh, almost done. Let's say 53, 57, 61. I'm just guessing now. I have no idea. 77. No, that divides by 11. 75, 73. That sounds like a prime. Oh, I guess we're done. How many did I get? I don't even have any idea. There you go. How many primes? It was maybe 10. I don't know. I can't count the primes and go at the same time. Let's see. We've talked about 3D printed weapons a ton on This Is Only a Test, Mirvan. They're, it's kind of a novelty right now. They're not really weapons, and they're going to cause a lot of problems for people who do 3D printing. But yeah, that's, go listen to any one of like 13 episodes of This Is Only a Test where we talk about 3D printed guns a ton. I'm going to go back over to the tested chat and get some more questions over there. Jetlag asks, do you have framed Amazon gift cards on your wall? Yeah, I do, but I can't tell you why, because if I tell you, it'll make me seem like a horrible person. It's really funny. Never forget. Sam Clark wants to know, what can we do to help build up content on the site? There are a high number of users who would like to get involved. It's one of those things that we've always had a challenge with Untested. We didn't know, the reason we didn't have a wiki, in addition to Dave, preventing us from having a wiki over and over again. I love Dave, just to be clear. No, there's no beef. No beefing. We weren't sure exactly what to put on it. Like, the consumer product diversity in CE devices is enormous, and there's a ton of, like, just the sheer volume of products made it a terrifying data challenge to build a database of CE stuff. I think a database of CE stuff is pretty boring. I feel like Gadget's done a really pretty good job with that, and I don't think that there's a reason to do it again at this point. So, I mean, one of the things we've talked about, a bunch of different possibilities, building a materials database. We've talked about for makers, so that okay, I need something that's fairly rigid and that can be cut with a table saw, and that I can glue or screw or use joinery to hold together. Here's plywood, here's MDF, here's Trypan, here's thin ply. 16 different kinds of materials that you can use for specific kinds of projects. That's something we could definitely use help from the audience from. It's going to take a while before we get ready to do that, because a lot of the wiki stuff, when we rebuilt the site to launch New Tested last year, we didn't bring the wiki stuff over because we weren't planning on using it, and so we'd have to go back and probably I don't want to say restart that from scratch, but we'd have to do a fair amount of work to make that happen. We're definitely going to do, in the shorter term, we're going to bring user blogs back. We have to fix the spam problem there. We've had a horrible spam problem since we launched the new version of the site late last year. User blogs, and we'd like to do user galleries so that you guys can post, have places to show off your projects with really high-res, beautiful pictures. So yeah, that's this kind of short-term stuff. I would like to have a wiki. I don't think it's vital to what Tested is, despite a lot of joking over the last 2 years about Tested wikis. So yeah, that's it. I'm almost out of questions in the Tested chat. This might be an early finish. Oh, here we go. Oh, Dino546 is telling me something I didn't know. 1Password is 50% off right now, and you get a free upgrade to the next major version. Would I say that it's worth it? Yes. 50% off on 1Password is great. There are other less expensive free alternatives. I have used them in the past. They're fine. I think 1Password is probably the best, and that's why they can get away with charging as much as they generally do for it. Half off 1Password is a great deal. If you have multiple computers or multiple people in your family, just pony up for that five computer license and give it to everybody on the your friends that you give access to will love you for it, because it's a great piece of software. As with any password manager, it's really tricky. Like, it's a hard thing to break yourself of the first week, just typing the same password into every site. So I strongly encourage you to just sit down and start using it. It gets easier every week. The first week sucks. The second week sucks a little bit less. The third week sucks a little bit less. And by like 6 months, you won't even think twice about using 1Password. It's a great piece of software. The mobile apps are really good. The iOS app now integrates a browser, so if you have to go to a site that you need to log into and it's a terrifying long password, you just open up the app, go to the site that you want to go to in their browser, and it works just like it does on Mac or Windows. Let's see. Sambolino wants to know what my first go-to websites are when I boot up my laptop in the morning. When I boot up my laptop in the morning, I'm at work, so usually I just go straight to Tested and either start writing something or start editing video or getting ready for podcasts or something like that. For things that I read to keep up to date on things, I read... I wrote a story about this last year and caught a lot of grief about it, but basically, I guess it was earlier this year. I have a big long list full of people who write interesting things on a regular basis, and I follow them on Twitter. And then also in that list are people who link out to interesting things, and that has been incredibly useful to me because it lets me pare down. Some of the sites that I read regularly post 60 or 70 things a day, and if I have to scan through 60 posts to get to the one thing that I read, I've wasted 10 or 15 minutes, and I don't have that kind of time to kill. So Twitter has been really good for that. I used to use RSS feeds a ton, but they had the same problem. It was just condensed into one site instead of 10. Sites I read for fun, I read Boing Boing more or less every day. I go to Laughing Squid more or less every day. I like Kotkey.org. I'm looking at the stuff that's in my top bar is an Instapaper shortcut, a Flipboard shortcut, a link to Tested, the folder of whatever my current project is. Right now it's like a bunch of links to Arduino stuff. A link to Google Analytics so I can see how the website's doing. A link to Twitter. A Boing Boing link, a Reddit link, Giant Bomb, Penny Arcade, Slash.Kotkey, Laughing Squid, Tech Meme, couple of JavaScript applets. What else do I have here? Oh wow, that's a lot. Gets kind of crazy. Hacker News, and then it's just a bunch of links to stories that I like that I didn't put in the right folder. Oh, and Candy Box. So yeah, that's my links. I probably wasn't helpful at all. Fried Dinosaur wants to know about the Humble Indie Bundle. Adam and Norm and I have talked previously about introducing him to games. Do we think that the indie games in the new Humble Bundle, such as Dear Esther or Thomas Was Alone, would be a good start? Yeah, I think actually both of those games are pretty solid. I thought about sending him a code for a gift sub for the Humble Bundle, and I actually decided not to because I want to have him sitting down with us when he plays those games for the first time. My hunch is that he'll get a big kick out of Thomas Was Alone, which everybody should play. If you haven't played that, go get the Humble Bundle right now because the game is just fucking rad. Dear Esther is great. It evokes emotion. Both of those games I think actually the theme of this Humble Bundle. I haven't played Capsized yet, and I've only played a little bit of the Inferno game. But they evoke emotions in a way that's not typical for games. So I like what they did with this bundle. And the soundtrack for Thomas Was Alone is worth the price of admission. Dear Esther is really good too. Anyway, I want him to play these games for the first time on live when we're recording. I want to capture that. So yeah, I haven't sent it over to him. Yorko wants to know what video games have I been playing. I just, I downloaded that Knife of Dunwall DLC for Dishonored last week or the week before. Kind of played through it real slowly and realized as I was playing that playing the main game campaign had taught me how to play that game much more stealthily than I typically play games. Usually I kind of play stealthily until I get spotted, then I start killing everybody. So I played the DLC accidentally without killing anyone until the last mission or so. I realized at the last mission I hadn't killed anybody yet. And so then I went back to play the original game because the power is a little bit different in that. And yeah, I really enjoyed it's an absolutely fantastic game. I deeply undervalued that and in last year's Game of the Year stuff. I think it's much better than I remembered it being. And taking the time to play stealthily made a huge difference in the way I enjoyed the amount that I enjoyed that game. So yeah, I also playing a second time allowed me to dole out powers in a much more effective way. So I, instead of focusing on things that made it easier to kill people, I have, I think, blink. I have the teleport, the see in the dark / see what people are looking at, and possession, which is the get out of jail free card. And I'm almost done with it. I'm gonna, maybe at some point in the future I'll play it again and try to never be seen, but that seems borderline impossible. I don't know. It's a great game. You should play it. It's probably really cheap now. Just let me draw it wants to know, some friends and I are setting up to do some small commentary tracks for a show we work on. Do you have any suggestions on microphones? What kind do you use? I assume that when you're doing commentary tracks, you're going to be sitting in a dark room watching something on TV with headphones on, and the sound from the movie or TV show or whatever you're watching piping out the headphones while you talk into microphones. If that's the case, like the microphones that we use for the podcast are great. They're Audio Technica 135s, I think. There's a story on the site about our podcast equipment, the stuff that we use on the podcast rig. So you can find out the full specs on everything there, and I think there's links to Amazon and everything. But yeah, I would look for like a relatively inexpensive cardioid mic. I mean, worst case, you can use like a Shure vocal mic or something like that that costs $30 or $40. If you want to mic everybody all at once and you're wearing headphones again, you can get a boom mic that's omnidirectional or kind of unidirectional, and set it up in front of the three of you or however many people are talking, and everybody talks into the mic and it'll work out. Right now I'm recording on a blue snowball. It's silver. It's not blue, but it is a ball. So there you go. I am going to have a sip of my beverage. Commander ZX2 says, Boing Boing is terrible. They constantly run sensationalism articles and then censor people with IP bans who point out nonsense in their articles. Boing Boing is a group blog run by a bunch of people. Some of them post sensational stuff, some of them not so much. Like anything else, some stuff I read I like and enjoy, and some things I read there I don't enjoy and just move on. And you know, I guess it's an XKCD where... Is it an XKCD where the guy says, wait, someone's wrong on the internet, I have to go fix them? I don't have that urge anymore. I think that passed, like, once I crossed my mid-30s. I was like, nope, I'm good. I'm okay with people being wrong on the internet. I'm just going to go on with my life and do other stuff. Be happy. I don't... Yarko wants to know, how does Norm buy his Mondo posters? I have no idea. He is really good at... He's always been good at that and buying concert tickets. So, I don't know. I'm going to go back over to YouTube and get some questions from there. I'm getting real close to the end of my beverage. So if you have any last questions, go to tested.com/live or ask them in the YouTube comments, and I'll answer what I can. Ah, that was delicious. Joel Albright wants to know, do I consider myself an audiophile? If so, what are my thoughts on Bose and Klipsch, as well as other big name quality? You quoted the quality. That's his air quote, not mine. Brands that may or may not be overhyped. I tend to give everything a listen. I mean, Bose catches a lot of grief. There are some things that okay, so let me take a step back. I do not consider myself an audiophile. I've gone to a lot of live music over the years. I've worn headphones that I listen to much too loud, and I have not a terrible case of tinnitus, insert Archer joke, but I do have I do not have hearing that should be testing things for qualitative purposes. I do, however, there are things that I do and don't like that I know. I don't like noise canceling headphones. I think that the pink noise that most of them use to generate is just muffling and not really canceling, and it means that they have to make stuff louder to counteract. I love noise isolating earbuds. The only knock against them is that they're hard to wear for long periods of time. But I've found that if you get a pair of soft foam tips, the memory foam stuff, then you can wear them for long airplane rides and the whole 9 yards. I listen to stuff, and if it sounds good, then that's enough for me. For recommendations on that stuff, I let other people handle it at this point. So yeah, that's it, I guess. Austin C wants to know if I will tickle Norm the next time he gets cranky. I do not think that tickling Norm would make him less cranky. That's all I'm going to say about that. Sam Betts wants to know what am I using to stream. I'm using a Logitech C something webcam. I can't remember. It's maybe a C. Hold on. It's too dark in here. Do I have my flashlight? No. I think it's a C615, but I can't remember. It's the one with the tripod mount and the pivoting head. We've used a ton of them over the years. We used them for the car live streams to CES. We used to use them in the podcast room at Whiskey. It's a great, inexpensive webcam. I'm sure they've updated and there's a newer model by now. And then the software I'm just using is YouTube. I'm using YouTube's Wirecast, which is the normal thing. So I can do things like pop up bottom thirds, and I can composite and put an A and a B up on the screen. So I can show you my desktop if I wanted. I don't think that's a good idea because it's real messy. But I could conceivably add a media file of some kind. Let's see. What am I going to put up here? Yeah, I got nothing. So yeah, it's a pretty good piece of software for free if you have YouTube streaming on your account. And I think anybody can do high quality YouTube streaming now if they have more than 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, which is pretty awesome. I'm going to go back to Tested Chat for a couple more questions while I drink some more from my mug. Note the handle. It's a mug, not a jar. I have not seen After Earth yet. The only movie I've seen in the last 6 months. Let's see. I saw Django Unchained in the theater, and then between then and now, the only thing I've seen was Iron Man. So I haven't even been to see Star Trek yet, which makes me think I'm the worst person in the world. Glenn wants to know, what do I think of custom fitted earphones? I would love a pair. I've actually, we talked about the hearing stuff, but I kind of been thinking about going to the audiologist, and maybe I'll see about getting a pair fitted when I do that, because you go to the same place you go to get your hearing checked, and the custom duders for your earbuds. I really like these. Webbling wants to know, has the baby impacted my weight loss goals? It hasn't affected my weight loss goals, but it's affected my progress. It's up and down. So sometimes if she's not sleeping well, then you end up jamming food together at the last possible minute, and you eat stuff that's less healthy, or I find myself packing food in the car on the way someplace, or something profoundly unhealthy. I'm still holding pretty steady at about 210, between 210 and 215, but I haven't gotten below 210 yet, so I'm a little bummed about that. I've been there for maybe 2 months now, or 3 months now. I think I'm gonna have to start exercising, which is real gross. I'm not a big fan of that. So I'm also not a big fan of starving myself. So I guess I'd rather go running than starve. So that's that, I guess. Let's see. Asher wants to know, are the flat cables on your earphones any heavier? I don't think the cables are. There's a little weight that you can use to do that. Which is a pretty bad idea, I think. The microphone button mount on these headphones is a little bit heavier than the one I was used to, as is the deuter where the flat cables go together. I have not noticed it being heavier when I've been out running with them. So there you go. I guess let me go back over to YouTube and check for one last question as I take this last sip or two. I think you might have gotten some more questions out of me because the ice is melting. Miguel Salazar asks, Batman or Superman? It depends on what the question is. That's not a question. That's just two names with an or between them. Who is my favorite? Batman. Who is the best in a fight? Batman. Who's the best detective? Batman. Who has the coolest costume? Batman. Who has the best movies about him? Batman. Well, okay, so I guess the answer is Batman. And I guess that'll do it. Oh, wait, there's a serious question here on YouTube. Cole KO wants to know what's my favorite way to make coffee at home. The way I make coffee every morning is in the most recent video I posted. It's not always the case, but it is right now. The Able brewing system with the metal cone and the ceramic pots. It's fantastic. I absolutely love it. It is complete overkill, but I was perfectly happy to pay something to support that dude's awesome product and business. So yeah, that's what I use every day. But I mean, I've also over the years I've used a French press every day. I used to have an old Mr. Coffee that I used for a long time every day. I went from the Mr. Coffee to the French press, and then I went from the French press to the AeroPress. And then between the AeroPress and the cone, I've been through like 15 different things. I did siphon and brewing for a while, which I'm really bad at and is a pain in the ass. It makes a huge mess. Just find something that you like and stick with it. But I like the manual pour with the metal filter, so you get kind of a good mouthfeel on the coffee. And one more sip, one more question. Helmet Shot says, I don't think you are looking at this chat. That is not a question. Ian Harvey does ask, this is a good question. Were you shocked when the Lego Death Star was destroyed? I was surprised when it hit the floor. I did not think that Norm had threatened to do that for a while, and I did not think he would actually do it. So yeah, there we go. That'll do it for this episode of No Jars Allowed. Thank you guys for joining us, or joining me, I guess. I mean, we'll do it more often if you guys have questions. I always enjoy doing this. It's fun to sit in my office and talk to the computer for an hour. But yeah, if you came in late, the archive will be posted shortly, and we should be back next week with another episode of This Is Only a Test. Until then, I'm Will. See you guys later. Bye. I don't know how to kill this stream. Wait, it's up here. Okay, really going now. See you guys later. Okay, so I press stop streaming, and then it says, are you sure you want to stop streaming the live event? Really? Oh, wait, hold on. I gotta do the bumper. But wait, there's more. Professionals. QuickTime movie. Drop. Wait, maybe I don't have it. Okay, never mind. See you guys later.